Families and students. My name is Mrs. Doucette, and I am the visual arts teacher here at Maple Grove. If you are watching or listening to this tutorial, then it is highly likely that you have a kiddo in my art class at Maple Grove this year. Or perhaps you are a student in my art class and you're watching this to get a better idea of how our virtual studio is going to work. The virtual studio is the website that you're taking a look at right now. And if you've made your way to this video, then clearly you've made your way to the site. This is new for the art room this year. And the reason why I've decided to implement the virtual studio in our program is to give students an opportunity to not only use technology in a new way, but also to think about technology and the impacts that it has on their well being and their sense of identity and their development. Um, I'm going to take you through a quick tutorial of the virtual studio over the next several minutes, outlining some of the key parts of the website, some of which you can use at home to help guide conversations with your children around digital literacy and well-being. And some of these areas will be used strictly in the classroom as students start to think about themes of digital literacy, being a good digital citizen, and how they can apply that to art projects that they do in school. So on the home page here, you're going to notice a few different features. If I scroll down, you'll see that there are four main areas highlighted right on the main page. They're called the Digital Literacy Deep Dive, the Drawing Rack, the Mixed Media Lab, and the Gallery Wall. I'm going to review these four sections in detail in just a few moments, but they're included on the main page because they are essentially the main four components of the overall hub. On the left-hand side over here, you're going to see a tab menu of all of the sections of the sites. Some of these are going to be used more regularly by students than others. From a parent perspective or a family perspective, if you're interested in reading more about my rationale behind why I've developed the virtual studio, then you can certainly take a look at my rationale here. I should note that this is a capstone project that I completed as part of my master's in education technology degree that was just completed here in the summer of 2026. So I do go into quite a bit of detail here as to why I decided to create this virtual hub for students this year. And I welcome you to read through that if you're interested, and I'm open to having conversations with you around my rationale if at any time. The next tab is the resource guide tab, which if you have made it to this video, then you've already been in this section of the website because this is where it lives. So I can quickly go through that one and move on to the section on digital literacy. This is an area of the website that is built for students, but it's also a good collection of resources that you can take a look at home in order to open conversations around digital citizenship with your children. As students use this area of the website, I encourage them to take a look at the guiding question, which is how can I become the master curator of my own digital life? And while this is a really vast topic, I decided to narrow down our focus of digital literacy into three main themes. And through those themes, I hope that students will be able to describe how their digital choices leave a permanent impression. I hope that they'll be able to recognize how different app features may affect their focus, their self worth, and their stress levels. And I also hope that they will learn how to use offline tools like mindful doodling to give their brains a break when they feel like they are overwhelmed. So these themes are divided into these three areas here. Each one is linked to a different lesson that we will be doing in class throughout the school year. Feel free to take a look at them at home, however, because like I said, they do have great opportunities for conversation starters with your kids. The second key area of the site that's developed for the students is called the drawing rack. This is essentially a passive zone or a passive space in the site where students can go on their own time if they are feeling overwhelmed, if they are feeling overstimulated, and if they need to give their brain a reset. The guiding question for this area of the website is, how can I use this digital sanctuary to quiet the chaos around me and rest my mind? I've developed a series of different tools and activities in this area of the site that is meant to be a mindful experience where students can calm themselves if they are overwhelmed. The drying rack here is actually a link to a coded app essentially that I've created with a variety of different mindfulness activities embedded within it. This particular area of the drying rack is meant to be a quick self directed opportunity for students to either practice some guided breathing, to do a quick check in, to hear some affirmations if they're having a hard time with self esteem on a particular day, as we all do sometimes, to drop their worries into our worry drop area, or a variety of other art inspired activities to help calm them. That's just one area of the drawing rack. So if you continue to scroll down, you will see that I've included a variety of videos and soundscapes that's also meant to act as a stress reliever for your kids. The videos are all art related, and they're meant to be a calming influence on them. There's guided questions throughout this area of the site as well to get them thinking about what could they do with their hands to help relieve some stress if they are feeling overwhelmed. What kinds of sounds might they listen to help regulate their nervous system? And if they're interested in soundscapes, I give them some options for creating their own as well. For those students who do prefer hands-on activities, these are low-stakes art prompts that encourage them to use the tools and the supplies in the art room to decompress if they are feeling like they need a break. The Zen Garden is another fun tool that I developed through something called vibe coding. And there are three more game-based activities here as well, yet still being very mindful of using this technology to de-stress, not to add stress. So I'm very cautious in using the words games to describe these three activities here because they are they're slow feed, mindful activities without any pressure for badges or racing or anything that might enhance stress instead of decrease it. So the drying rack is basically their zone to unwind if they need to. The Mixed Media Lab is another component of the area of the site. And I should say that while I'm going through all of the areas with you today, these will have a gradual rollout for the students throughout this school year. I will not be opening all four areas right away. I think it's very important to start with the digital literacy section to give students the right vocabulary, background, and grounding to know how digital media affects their lives before we can start exploring what we can do about it. So, the Mixed Media Lab will likely have a rollout in the late fall or early winter of the school year. And the guiding question for this area of the site is, how can I blend hands on art making with digital tools to express who I truly am? In order to really focus on that question, I have created something called a Mixed Media Lab app. I'm going to open it up here. This area has a series of quests, which are essentially art projects that students can complete on a variety of themes. They're numbered as little hotspots throughout this art room graphic that you see on the screen here. And as students click on each hotspot, they'll get a quick introduction to what this activity is, and then an opportunity to click on the project instructions for detailed step-by-step instructions on how to complete it. When a student completes a quest, they can mark it as complete on their quest board so they know which ones they've completed and which they haven't. By no means do students have to complete these in order, and nor do they range from easiest to most difficult. They're truly a variety of activities here. So I encourage students to look at each of them before deciding on which one to start with. This is constantly evolving and it will likely include a few more additions as we make our way through the school year. As it is evolving, I welcome your feedback. If you have suggestions, students, this is for you on how I can make the Mixed Media Lab better. If you have an idea for a prompt or a project that you would like to see included here, you can fill out this Google form in which I can receive your feedback, and it will help me when I'm making choices for revamping the lab. The last big section of this site is called the gallery wall. And like the other sections, this too will have a gradual rollout. I anticipate this area of the site opening up in the spring after we have a good foundation of appropriate feedback, appropriate ways to respond to peers, arts, how to critique art, and how to really think about what we're sharing before we share. Because the gallery wall is a space where we can share our art and respond to each other's art. The guiding question for this area of the site is how can we share our creativity and build a supportive community where everyone feels seen? The gallery wall, as you can see here, is a password protected area of the website. This was a mindful decision on my part as I want this to be a space for our students. The community that we build in our classroom takes time. To build trust and to build safety is something that I take seriously. And I want to ensure that if we are having an online gallery of their work, that it is for us only and not accessible for the general public to come in and perhaps leave not so nice comments. So for the sake of demonstration, I will show you the gallery in just a moment, but I do want to draw your attention to a few tips that I've included here on gallery wall etiquette. For those who prefer to listen, I have an audio tab here that you can hear these rules or guidelines being read to you, but just some friendly reminders of how to engage in the gallery wall. As I mentioned, I'll show you a quick preview here. This is my dashboard. So as the teacher, as the administrator of the app, I have access to all of it, to delete posts, to edit posts if necessary. So this will be monitored on a regular basis. But one of the things that I enjoy about this is that students have the autonomy to post their own artwork on the gallery wall. And when they decide, if they decide to post their artwork, they have an opportunity to add a description to it as well. And once it's posted, we have these drop down feedback options where their peers can go in and leave them a positive comment about their artwork. These are not open-ended comments. They are all curated with comments that use language from the elements of art, as we are learning about that this year. And so it gives them an opportunity to share feedback in a way that is kind. There are also some opportunities to add badges to the artwork that is shared. And while on traditional social media apps, likes and stickers are individually counted, on the gallery wall, it is a shared numbered collection. So if we have students sharing artwork and the total number of likes received is 20 for the whole class, then that's the number that's going to be placed up here. So we're working together collaboratively for our sticker count. It is not an individual race or competition with each other, but it is truly a collaborative community that we're building here. So that's the gallery wall. Um, as always, families, I encourage open communication between home and school. If at any time you have any questions for me, not just about how we are using the virtual studio in our art class this year, but any concerns that you may have as they pop up throughout the school year, please feel free to contact me. I welcome your communication and your feedback. And I think it's extremely important that we work together to ensure that your kiddos have the best year possible. So that is it for the virtual studio. I hope that this tutorial has helped both you families and you students gain a deeper understanding of how this site will be used in our classroom this year, and how different areas of the site can contribute to students' overall well-being, both in a digital media, digital literacy sense, as well as in their own mental well-being. Any feedback is always welcome. Thanks for sticking around this long, and we'll see you soon.